Right, it's here. It's finally landed, people. And when I mean by landed, I don't mean it's been in outer space and it's floated down to Earth. No. What I mean is it's just arrived in the post. And we have the Bachmann newly released Midland Class 4F. Sorry about the drain there. Ignore that. And this is my first 2013 range product from anybody. Hopefully I can get some of the others now that I want to get coming on string now, if you know what I mean. Now this has been out since August, but the reason I didn't have one before is, well, my own reasons really. But originally I had bought a Bachmann 4500 Prairie tank from S&J Models, but they sent an email saying that they'd cancelled the order. I think it was due to sickness or illness or something like that, whichever one it was. Or maybe it was for a different reason altogether, I can't remember now. But I got my money back. I sold off one of them little 04 locomotives, which you'll know about if you've been on Twitter. And I bought this, and I'm really glad I did. And this is the one I wanted. LMS Black with the Johnson Deeley tender, in which the first 10 were equipped with these. And they were also built with a few minor changes, such as, well, it's on the back. As you can see there, they had a few minor changes. These were built with left-hand drive, whereas the Midland Railway versions retained its original right-hand drive. And it's all the other brief history on the back as well. And it tells us that one of the Midland 4Fs is in preservation, number 43924, and it's based at the Keighley-Winworth Valley Railway. But there are also 3 LMS 4F Fowlers preserved as well. Except with the Midland ones, there's only one preserved. This is not the one. Which, yeah, it is a shame, but you know, what can you do about that? And I will be doing a comparison to this and the Airfix 4F I have, which is just here. You will have to excuse the dust on this loco, because I've only just pulled this from out the cupboard. In fact, let's get a little brush and dust it down. Wait there a sec. This brush should be much better. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, I will just say this now, although I have not looked at the Bachmann model yet, I have seen it in photographs, and the detail on it, it's just, well, it blows away the Airfix and Hornby ones easily, because the detailing is much better. But you know, if you prefer the older models, then this is the one to go for. If you want the newer one, which is better, go for the Bachmann one. But anyway, if we move the Airfix model away to the side there, we can now have a look at the Bachmann model. So we'll get this open. Now I am really excited. This came from Hatton's, by the way. Don't know if I've already mentioned that, because I can't remember now if I've mentioned it earlier or not, but who cares anyway. So it's the usual unideal new Bachmann packaging, which I'm not really fond of. Some people actually really like it, but I don't, because it doesn't do it for me really. But you know, there you go. If you don't like it, then that's not a big issue, is it? So here we have the instructions. well, we have the product warranty and the collectible leaflet there, with the warranty service request and the product maintenance and care. And it's basically the usual stuff. Like, this is the spare section. And then on the back it tells you about running in the curves. It can go around the body shell removal, fitting a DCC decoder, lubrication points where they need to be lubricated, and the replacement parts if necessary. So there we go. Now we just take off this plastic cover. Sorry if I've knocked the camera there. So there we go. In fact, actually, it's probably better if I move the camera forward, so I'll just do that. Right, so the camera's been moved forward, so we can get rid of this plastic cover. And by the way, all the rubbish is going down there at the bottom. So we have these details first that we all look at. And so it's basically, well, this is for sound. So you can fit a sound decoder in there, but I'm not going to do that because I don't have DCC. And there's a few screws in there. These are, well, now, these are interesting. If we come back to the instructions, it shows you them there. They are tender tank vents according to model, if tender has water scoop. So this one must have the water scoop, hence why they are there. Interesting. What else have we got? We have got a chain link coupling in there. You do get some locomotive tools such as fire irons and shovels and a few hammers. And then you get these as well, which is curious. It's that basically. I'm not entirely sure what it is. Maybe we'll find out later. But anyway, it's all there if you need it. So, now we can open it up. Oh wow. Right, this is going to be more or less tricky. Do you excuse for the joint arm? There we go. So if I come around this side and gently lift out the model, we can get rid of this packaging. Wow. Now, that clip is in there quite stiff. But we'll get rid of that because we don't need it. Right, so now we can have a look at it in detail. Now, first of all, the tender is connected to the loco. Now, usually I would disconnect the tender from the loco, but I'm not going to. Well, mainly because the brake rods, as you can see, have already been added. Actually, no, I am going to disconnect it. So excuse what I've just said there, that's because it is a little bit hard, especially for this review, because the camera tripod is right behind me, and it's hard for me to get my hands around there to lift both the loco and the tender up. So I will have to separate it, so I'll be back in a sec. Okay, I'm back, and I've removed the tender from the loco, as you can see. It wasn't easy to do, because I actually had to remove the brake rod from under the tender to get it out, and I will have to remove this again to put it back in. So that is a criticism. But anyway, let's get on to the loco. So here's the little socket that I've taken out. As you can see, well, clip that goes into the socket actually, attached to these wires. It would be nice if Bachmann could start having the loco in the tender separately in the box, so you don't have to take it out. So it does not have to be taken out together, if you know what I mean. Hornby, yes, have started doing the same thing, but they don't do it on all the models. But they have done it though on a few occasions, such as the Hornby B1. But anyway, we will start with the loco first, and we'll save the tender till last. So here is the model. Wow. Just look at this. Bachmann have done a flawless job with this model, as you can see. We've got sprung buffers on the front, but then they're just there for play, really, to be honest. I couldn't care less if this model had sprung buffers or not. But there is a brake pipe that's already added to the front, so it saves me adding it later. There's rivets on the buffer beam, and an M socket, so you can take this coupling out and replace whatever you want it to. There's also some sandpipes just under the wheels there. We have cab steps as well, which have rivets on them, and there are some rivets as well on the running board, as you can see, and on the smoke box as well, and on the wheel arches as well. And there's even some rivets around the cab and on the top of the roof there. If we'll just wait for the camera to focus, the rivets are indeed, yeah, there they are. There's also a cab vent at the top there, which doesn't open, but then doesn't really need to be honest. But you do have a nice brass whistle at the top there, and the safety valves. You've got the windows at the front there with glazing in them. You've got 5 metal handrails that go all the way down the side of the boiler, and down the sides of the cab there, as you can see. And there's even some small metal handrails there as well, which is very nice. You've got the LMS numbering, 3851, which is accurately done, and I do like the embossed on it. And then you've got the little 4F printing at the top there, which basically the F stands for freight. So this is a freight loco, because it will be doing some freight work, of course. Then you have a nice dome, and the chimney, which is very nicely done. Then of course you've got the builder's plate, which says LMS. That says Derby on it, I think. No, not Derby. I can't read what it says on the bottom, but you know, it's nice it's there anyway. As you can see, the wheels are very nicely done as well with the side rods. There's no valve gear or link motion on it, but then these were inside cylinder locomotives anyway. Speaking of that, it's better from this angle actually. If you turn it round, you can see they have captured not only the reverse lever there, but inside, that's all the components that needed to be lubricated in real life. And it's nice that they've included that. So everything that you would see in real life under the boiler there on the loco has been captured on the model. Wow, just look at that. Not many models feature that. This model does. Again, got another metal handrail there down the side, which is really good. You've got some more detail in here. There's the number again, along with another small handrail. More rivets, and this is, we've got some more detail in here. It's some pump of some sort. I forget what it's called now, but it's nice it's there. You've got some more detail in here, along with rivets. Wow. And of course the front, you've got the smoke box door, which does not open, as I can confirm, but then it doesn't really need to. But you do have a small handrail at the front there, along with another lamp iron and the running number, which is 3851, and you've got the shed plate, 20B. That's somewhere on the Midland region, but I don't know what shed it is. If you know, please do comment. I could start researching these sheds. In fact, actually, I'll do that now. Right, I've just researched the shed code 20B, and it is in fact Leeds, so that is really interesting. But there's one part of this loco that we haven't actually looked at yet, and it's this. Look at that. We have painted cab detail. We have been careful not to drop this and been careful where to hold it. The inside of the cab has been painted cream, and all the cab detailing is there. You've got the lever, the turning wheels, the gauges, the dials, pipes. It's all there. It's all painted. And even the floor has been painted as well. Yeah, you can just about see the floor has been painted, and that is a really nice touch. Well done, Bachmann. Wow. So far, this is a stunning model. So, that's the loco. Now we'll move on to the tender. So, here's the Johnson Deeley tender, which the Johnson 3Fs also had. So, where do we start? Well, you have rivets on the tender there as well, and the tender buffers, which aren't sprung, but then do you need them to be? No. You've got some coal there in the chute, which that bit isn't removable, but it doesn't need to be anyway. You've also got these handles, which are painted, which is a rarity to have them on the faceplate painted, and that basically transfers the water from the tender into the boiler. You've got some more detailing on the top here, which I'm not too sure what that is, but it's very curious. You've also got the coal rails on the side of the tender, and also look at this. It doesn't seem to want to do it now. Not when turning it upside down. I will have to get the needle. There you go. The coal is in fact removable, but there is a slight interesting twist to it. It's actually a weight, which is quite interesting, in which the tender has, well, there is a little bit of weight in it without it, but because this is a weight, and you can easily tell it's a weight because, well, there's holes in the top of it for a start, but also, well, that's the proof. The bottom of it, and it does feel a bit sticky as well, the bottom. Not too sure why, but the coal is removable, which is very nice, but some people might criticise it because it's made of metal and it might stop you putting real coal in, which, to be honest, there isn't that much difference in weight at all, to be honest, with the metal coal loading. In fact, to be honest, it's hard to remove anyway. Because the bottom is sticky. But I'm going to keep it in anyway. But what you can do is carefully scatter your own coal load on the top of it, and that is what I will do. But I won't do it in this video, I'll do it after. But anyway, the sides of the tender, there's no rivets on them, but then these types of tenders didn't have rivets on the side of them anyway. But you've got the nice LMS Black, which is captured very well, which is also done beautifully on the loco as well, and accurately, like it should be. So the lettering is very nice. You've got the rivets on the bottom of the tender, the frames, which have the axle boxes and the springs. And there's the wheels. And there's the bottom. I know I've already shown it. The coal's come out again. Sorry about that. But there are tender pickups. The brake rod's already added. And there's the water scoop to pick up water from the troughs. Though I do question that, because where's the holes for them detailing to go? Because there should be holes there. Remember, it's that. There should be a hole for that on the tender, and it did say to fit them if the tender has a water scoop, but there are no holes there. So I don't know what that's all about. I might have to drill some in myself. So that is my, well, that's probably my only criticism really, to be honest. But there are some rivets at the top there on the tender, and that's where the water goes into. On the back you got another coupling, sprung buffers, another brake pipe, rivets, and some more lamp irons. And of course you get some metal handrails at the front here as well. The rain's starting to come down now. So you have builder's plate to the back. One says LMS 2976, not sure what that is, and that's 3,250. So that's the gallons it takes. It's like, it's not exactly 3,000 gallon, so it's slightly more than that. But you know, excuse the train horn. And Bachmann do 4 of these 4Fs at the moment. They do this one with the Johnson Deeley tender in LMS Black. They do another one with the same tender, but BR Black Early emblem. They also do a model of one of the preserved ones, which looks nice, but this one adds a bit more interest to it. And for the Collectors Club, there is one of these with the Johnson Deeley tender in Somerset and Dorset Joint Railway Blue, which, to be honest, it doesn't suit the 4Fs. It just doesn't look right on them. It's okay on the G&T and the 7F, but not on the 4F. Plus, the way the livery's been applied on the photographs, it just looks a bit odd, in my opinion. But anyway, so now we'll do a quick comparison with this model and the Airfix one. Well, it's quite obvious, isn't it? The Bachmann model, it's much better. There's nothing wrong with the Airfix model, because it's still good for what it was, as you can see. But the Bachmann one, it's much better. The detail, it's more mind-blowing, and it just wipes the floor with this one. Besides, one thing that Airfix have got wrong is the detailing here, that pump or pipe, brasswork, whatever it is. I forget what it is. I think it's some sort of pump. Unless I'm wrong, do state otherwise. That should be on the other side. But you know, we'll have to let that go. But for an old model, it's still a good runner. And it pulls very well as well. Do excuse my grimy marks. But yeah. The Airfix model is okay. And Hornby have actually slightly improved theirs, because they did used to do, they took the tooling from Airfix and they had their own tender driven 4F. Now they've improved it and had it loco driven, but they've not improved the detail on it much. But Bachmann have come along, used a new type of tooling, and they've made a much better model of a 4F. As you can see. And I chose the Johnson Deeley tender because it will make it slightly more interesting to have both my 4S with different tenders. But anyway, I've done enough waffling for now. Let's get her on the tracks and see how she runs. Right, so here you're at the track now. I think in reviews we need to start running more locos on this line. Excuse the horn then. And that's what we'll also do in this review. Do excuse the siren in the background. It's either from a police car, fire engine, ambulance, whatever. Or even an unmarked car. There we go. Now that was easy to put on. Now, when putting the socket back into the, well, the plug back into the socket, or connector, whatever you want to call it, it's got different names. It's actually harder to put it back in than take it out. You have to put it underneath the wheels to get it in that socket. It's not a criticism, but it is a bit fiddly, and I'm just pointing that out. Do be careful. My only criticism really are, I'm just showing you again, these details here, which it said in the instructions, these ones here, it said in the instructions to fit them on the tender if it had a water scoop under it. It does, but there's no holes for it to go into. Maybe it doesn't need holes, I don't know, but that is essentially my only criticism. But I'll find that out later when we are applying the details, which won't be done in this video. But anyway, let's get it going. Now that has a really smooth mechanism. There's no grinding noises or buzzing noises coming from it. It's exactly how it should be. Smooth. So she's coming out of the tunnel now. It's like being on the Top Gear test track, isn't it? Except there's no cars. Under the bridge, past the road where there's a few cars on it. Just look at them side rods turning. Passing the seaside, which there's a lighthouse up there. There will be some people and all that on the beach. Eventually. Just passing the bend. Through the station. Which is a few people on it, but it's looking quiet at the moment. But the station will be completed and detailed. Passing the signal box. And the FX4F and Yes Tour in the siding. And back through the tunnel. Right, so what can we say about it? Well, that was a bit of a rough stop there. There we are. If you're collecting steam locomotives, you have to have a Midland 4F on your layout. No layout that has steam locos is complete without one of these. Get one, because you won't really be disappointed. Well done, Bachmann. This could be a Model of the Year 2013.